dos, tres.
What is up guys, Max here, and welcome back to another Photoshop tutorial. Now in today's tutorial, we are going to learn how to create this color composite inside of Photoshop. So here's the original photo. Do a little bit of Photoshop work and boom, it looks kind of like this. As always, right before we get started, be sure to subscribe to the channel, hit that notification bell to stay up to date on all the videos. You can also check out the Discord, Twitter, Instagram, they'll all be linked down below. And if you like this song you're currently listening to, you can sign up for a 30-day free trial to Epidemic Sound. So you can also have some really cool music for your videos. That link will be down below as well. So let's get started. Okay, as always, you can actually download this base photo completely for free. It's on unsplash.com. I'll leave a link down below. Download the photo and follow along. Now, when you open up the original photo, it looks something like this. Now, the first thing that I always do with any Photoshop piece, especially photo editing, I like to drag the background down to this little new option right here to create a new layer, and we hide the background because it keeps it safe. So if we delete media that we want to get back later, we have a copy in the background, essentially, quote unquote, background. Next up, we actually need to separate this person from the background because we do want to have those graphics that kind of flow behind them. So we need to cut them out really quick. And there's a really quick and easy way to do this. So first I want to focus on her head and her hair. Her hair is very fine and we can cut that out really quickly with this cool Photoshop tool. So what we'll do real quick is make another copy of the background copy 2. We can do this little option right here, create adjustment, go to solid color. Let's make the fill color like blue or something, doesn't matter. Let's put this under background copy 2. And then what we want to do is actually go to the eraser tool on the left right here and click and hold with your left click and then go to background eraser tool. Now this is a pretty neat tool. What it does is actually kind of erases the background and it's really good at recognizing hair. Okay, now, so I have this selection right here. It's like the black and white picker. It makes sure my colors are set down here, and it's kind of sampling from the background as in colors. It's not perfect, but once we start erasing, you can see that her hair really stands out, and the background is mostly turning blue. Now you can see that there is still some leftover from this background that we can get rid of later, but for the first pass around her head, this has erased a bunch of the stuff we needed erased. So if we actually turn off the background, you can see that we've gotten rid of a lot of stuff. And if we just go to our regular eraser tool, we can actually delete stuff that we don't want at all. So let's get this around the edge. Like I said, nothing's ever perfect with erasing a background, but Photoshop 2020 has introduced some really cool tools that really help us out. And I think this will do for erasing around her head for now. It's not perfect, but as far as a fine hair kind of thing, it works great. Now what we can do is actually turn this layer off for now and then turn background copy back on. Now what we want to do is actually cut out her body. What we'll do is actually grab the quick selection tool right here, hold it with your left click and then do object selection tool. What we'll do is actually create a square around her, which should select the majority of her body. Now it's not perfect, we are gonna have to clean some stuff up, but we can do that really quickly. So let's zoom in with Control plus on your keyboard or Command plus on a Mac and actually start spot checking all of this. As you can see, we'll start here. We'll grab our lasso tool, polygon lasso, and we'll start adding to this. We're gonna add some to fix this really quick. Her book bag looks a little fuzzy. Not perfect. Hold spacebar on your keyboard to quickly go around. Now this doesn't have to be extremely perfect because as you can saw in the final piece before, that it's pretty fine. I mean, there's a lot going on, so we can hide some of those errors. Go down to the bottom. Oop, we need to get rid of some. Go back to add. Go back to get rid of. Got to get rid of this section right here. We need to subtract this from the selection just so it gets erased. All that looks pretty good. We could actually probably do just a straight line right here to fix all this. Spacebar, let's move up. Add a little bit to the selection right here. Fix the edge of this. I mean, overall, I think it looks pretty great. All that looks good. I mean, maybe fix the edge of this. That was selected. And see, her hair is really chunky and this wouldn't work normally. That's why we did the original erasing hair tool thingy, because it actually will fix that for us. And what we need to do is actually just kind of edge this out. So what I can do is actually create a box and get rid of the edge of her hair. And the tool that we used will kind of fill this in for us, which is what we want. Might need to add that back after we do this. Edge is gone. Let's quickly add this little section back that we kind of erased right here. And then what we can do is actually select the background right here, make sure the image is actually selected. We can right click and do layer via copy, which creates a new layer that is just her. And if we combine it with the original background and we select out everything besides her head, let's quickly grab everything like so. Make sure background 2 is selected, right click, layer via copy, turn this background off, turn this background off, and we can see our final result. And it looks pretty good. We got a lot of her hair. This is a little faded in the background. It's kind of see-through, and we can clean this up really quick with the eraser tool, and it should be fine. Let's go to a soft round brush to clean up the edges. Like I said, it's not perfect, but we're not going for perfection here. We need something we can work with fairly quickly. And from a distance, I think this looks pretty great. All right, now we can move on to the artistic portion of this video. So let's clean this up real quick. I want to take layer 2 and layer 1. I want to combine these two layers so her head, actually has her hair. So layer 2, layer 1, right click, and then merge layers. Single layer, color fill. We don't really need this anymore, so we can click the delete button right here and totally delete it. Yes, I want to delete. Let's put background right here. Turn background copy 2 on. This is the one we want to get rid of. Delete, we used it. And then background copy. Turn that on, and we are good to go. Now we need to import those Photoshop brushes that you saw before. They weren't like strokes that I created. It's just brushes that I downloaded online, and they're completely free. So I will leave a few links down below to all the brushes we're about to import. You can download all 3 or 4, I think it was, and you can use them. Okay, so you're back and you've downloaded all the brushes. Now you need to learn how to import those files into Photoshop. So let's go to your brush right here. And as you can see, let's drop down on this and then hit this icon right here. And then go to import brushes. Now in Paint Shop, this is what I called this project. You have a couple different brushes that I actually am using, and you should have downloaded these and extracted the files into your folder or wherever you're putting this project. And all you gotta do is just double click one of these files, the Artistic One TT Montoya brush or the 20 splatter brushes, and you can import them directly into Photoshop. Now hit load and you're good to go. Load all 3 or 4, how many links I leave, and you'll have all of your brushes down here. Now what we can do is actually start creating new layers and actually painting on stuff like this. Okay, so let's create a new layer right here, and let's put it behind her. So it's gonna be under layer 2. Let's actually just really quick name these. Girl, and then layer 3, let's actually pick a different brush. And now you can do this on your own and kind of pick out whatever you want. This is one of those swirly things. I think I used one of those before, and let's just pick a random color. Let's go to like kind of a pink color and do this. There's a little bit of swoosh there. Let's do another layer. Go to another brush. That one's pretty big. Let's make it even larger on the brush size. And then just hold left arrow on your keyboard. It will start to rotate. Let's change the color. Let's change it to white. And we're doing all kinds of different colors here. We want to continue to do different colors and also different layers as we go. What we'll do next is actually grab this. Let's make it, let's do dark this time. Let's do a different brush. You can just kind of poke around until you find something that you like, which is what's really cool about this process. Let's make this brush like huge. That looks neat, I guess. Rotate it this way. Kind of a good start right there. We're creating good depth. Now we want to actually find something that we can wrap around her, which would be kind of neat. What does this one look like? Not too shabby. I think we can use something like this. Let's do a new layer. Change the color. Let's do red this time. And increase the size. It's pretty large. Now we need to actually take layer 6 and move it above her. And now what we want to do is actually grab our eraser tool and erase out lines that we want to go behind her. So we can actually grab the hard brush right here, hard and round. Kind of weird to say that. And then we can just start erasing stuff. Just, and delete as you go. Feel free to hit undo if you don't like what you did. But this is, this is the destructive part of this work. So remember, you can delete what you don't like. Definitely want to get rid of all the stuff on her face. That should go behind her hair. We'll have to use a soft brush towards the end to make it look a little nicer on her hair. Like so. And also like this. That should go behind her book bag. If we zoom out, we should be able to see it. That looks pretty great. It looks like it's circling around her. Now we can create a new layer after layer 6 and drop it below her. And let's grab one of the large swatch brushes. This is the free watercolor brushes pack that we downloaded. We changed the color to like this teal looking green stuff. And actually let's make the brush pretty darn large, like 4,600 pixels. So then let's do it like this. Something really large, covers the whole bottom. And then take the opacity of this brush and actually move it down a lot. And what we want to do now is actually grab the eraser tool, make sure a circle is selected, soft circle, let's move the size down. And let's erase half of this brush. I don't want it on this side. I just want it on that side. Looks pretty great so far. Let's do one more layer, grab a new brush, another watercolor. And these are all I'm just randomly selecting these. I'm not trying to be too hard on myself here. I just want to grab something pretty quick that looks decent. I think that could work, maybe. Let's rotate it by holding right on our keypad, up, down, left, right. Holding right, we'll rotate it slowly. And I'm not trying to go too fast here. That looks pretty good. What we can do now is grab the eraser tool one more time and actually erase out the edges. We don't want it right there. We kind of get it off this stuff. Bring the opacity down a little bit. And bring it under the black layer. What we can do now is actually grab the brush tool one more time, grab another one of these swatches, and then create a new layer, put it above the black, grab our eraser tool, kind of clean it up around the edges. We want the black to show through a good bit. Now we can create a new layer. Let's grab another brush. We have some splatter, color 20 splatter brushes that we'll be using. Not too bad. Let's actually grab a blue and put this right here. We can bring the opacity down a little bit and then do another layer. Let's do a different color blue, a much lighter blue. Look like it's kind of surrounding her, which is pretty neat. We can actually do another layer, put it on top of her, grab a different brush. Let's make it a lot smaller, half the size, a quarter of the size. That is much smaller. So it looks like it's kind of like engulfing her, going around her. We can grab another brush real quick, change the size. Let's make it at like 1800, it's fine. Change the color of the blue, make it a little darker. Looking good so far. We may want to erase a few of these. And like I said, this is all a judgment call, all for you. Not too bad so far. I may want to erase a little bit of this. I think this is layer 10. That looks better. A little distracting over there. Let's add a few more things. Let's do one more layer. Let's grab another brush. Let's do one of the big swatch brushes that we were using before. Watercolor brushes. Number 8. Randomly chose that. Let's make it let's actually make it white. Layer 13, move it to the very bottom and put it over here. Change the opacity, bring it down some. Grab our eraser tool, kind of go around the edges just to clean it up a little bit. Right here, you can see that hard edge we want to get rid of. Do another layer right here. Let's do this. We can do the same brush real quick and do a gray. Zoom out a good bit and actually put that down here to cover up that as a texture. And all we really need now is one to cover the top. But if we look at our original, I did something completely different. You can see here, I had a little more circles in here. Let's actually add a few more of these little swoops and circles and stuff to make our new version. Let's go back to our swoops. Here we go. We have not added purple yet. We can add purple in here, a deeper purple, darker purple. We can make this pretty large to give it its own style. Let's rotate it some. That looks pretty good. And then let's grab one more real quick. Let's make it kind of like a lime green. Add it to a new layer. Make it pretty large. And put it like, let's rotate it around and put it like right here. And I think this looks pretty good. It's not exactly like our original, but I think it's looking pretty great so far. Now what we want to do is actually crop this as a 1x1 square. So let's grab our crop tool right here and do 1x1 square. Then we can actually move it down some, make it fit the bottom, and then click OK. Now what we want to do is actually separate all of this out and create smart objects to affect their colors individually. So what we'll do is actually grab all the bottom layers and then put them in a group by clicking the folder down here. Take layer 12 and layer 6, which is our top layers that swoop around her, and put them in a group as well. We'll right-click group 2 and do convert to smart object, right-click group 1, and then do convert to smart object. And then the same thing for the girl. We're going to right-click her and then convert to smart object. Now what we want to do one more time is highlight everything, put it in a folder, and then take background copy and then group 3, right-click, convert to smart object, which creates our final piece that's above the original. Now what we want to do is go to filter and then camera raw filter. As you've seen in my other tutorials, I love camera raw filter. It's the business for me. What we can do is increase the clarity a little bit, jump over to effects and increase the grain. I think that looks pretty good. You can do a lot more in here. You can increase the saturation if you want to. I think that looks pretty great. This is very vibrant, very colorful. We can do a lot of stuff to this, but I think I'm going to leave it like this just for now. You can play around with it more. It doesn't matter. But now what we want to do is actually jump in and actually make her pop out of the screen a little more. So let's double click group 3, this little object right here. Opens up the PSB file, which was the original. Drop down on group 3, hit the girl right here, and go to filter and then camera raw filter one more time. What we can do is bring up her exposure a little bit, make her a little more contrasty, give her a little even more clarity, and bring up her saturation to make her a little more vibrant. And then click OK. Now she really pops out. You can see the difference in using this camera raw filter on just her object. It really does bring your eye toward the center. Then hit File, Save. Go back to our original piece. And as you can see, she is popped out of the screen a ton. Now she probably is a little oversaturated, but what's great about a PSB and camera raw filter, you can double click camera raw filter and bring her saturation back down to normal and then click OK. File, save, jump over to this. And now she's more or less back to normal. You can play around with it from here, make everything your own, fix everything, but I think this actually looks pretty great. And you know, looking at my original, I do see that the saturation in this one was much lower. We can open up this camera raw filter and actually see that my saturation was lowered right here, but that's totally fine. You can actually jump back into this, and like I said, you can go in and completely change stuff. That's what I really like about this little option. Let's decrease the saturation a little bit, and then click OK. I kind of dulled it down a little bit, but I kind of like that. May not be your cup of tea, but it works for me. And that's it. That is how you create this neat artistic square photo that would be easily posted to Instagram or something like that to make your art folder. This could easily, I guess, be a poster in an art school, I think. Instead of just a regular person standing on the road, we now have somebody who's going to art class and their whole mind is going crazy and they can see all this stuff. And there you have it. As always, guys, I'm Max. Thank you for watching this video. Thank you for being a part of the channel. If you are new to the channel, feel free to like and subscribe. Other than that, I guess I'll catch you guys in the next video. Peace.